Good morning and welcome to my hobby bench. So as many of you know, I am in collaboration with Boca bearings to make some videos for them, use their bearings, evaluate them, and I'm also working to assist them with correcting some of their issues with their website. But with that being said, I want to say that I am very pleased with the quality of the bearings that I get from Boca bearings. And I want you all to know that Boca does not just sell bearings made in China. Boca is a contract manufacturer, which means that they contract the manufacture of their bearings out to various companies, but the bearings are made to their specifications. They're not just buying other manufacturers' bearings and rebranding them. They're actually a manufacturer of bearings. Their biggest thing right now is ceramic bearings, and Boca makes bearings for all sorts of industries, not just RC glow engines. The RC glow engine bearings is just a very small segment, and that might have been how Boca got its start, but I'm not entirely sure about that. So just know that Boca is under contract with other manufacturers, and some of them happen to be in China, to make bearings to their specifications. And they're very good bearings in my opinion. Much better than just any old Chinese made bearing that you may find in some engines like ASP, Magnum, because I've seen a lot of bearings and I've seen a lot of crappy bearings. But the purpose of this video today is to assist you in navigating through their website, because I am a big proponent of Boca, not only because they're paying me to make videos, but because I actually believe in their bearings. I had been getting bearings from another vendor, and personally, to me, a bearing is a bearing. I can't really see a difference in my application for RC engines. All I know is in the past that if you buy the cheapest thing possible, you're getting the cheapest thing possible. So Boca bearings are not necessarily the least expensive, but I think even their economy line is comparable to the prices I was paying from my eBay retailer, and I think the bearings are a little bit better. And if nothing else, they're better packaged and better marketed. Does that mean anything for our application? I don't know, but as a customer, it looks better. So what I want to do here is I'm going to show you all how to navigate their website. I'm going to show you some of the good things and some of the bad things that I'm assisting Boca with. So I'm just going to be putting up a bunch of screenshots now for the most part and looking at my laptop. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to navigate to the Boca site. And the link will be in the video, and I'll put it on this screen here. So the first thing you do is you just go to the Boca site, and then right beneath the C under Boca Bearing Company, you'll see a line that says Bearing Applications. If you hover your mouse over Bearing Applications, a window will drop down, and then down to the lower right you'll see where it says RC Engine Bearings. Click on RC Engine Bearings, and that will bring you to another page that now says RC Engine Bearings. Now if you scroll down that page, you've got three tabs. You can search by manufacturer or model, search by size, search by bearing series. I only ever use search by manufacturer model because that's what I'm doing. If I'm going to be getting an Enya 46 4-cycle, for example, I'll go and I'll say I want to find the bearings for that. And we'll get into some of the pitfalls of that also. But anyway, so for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to select Sato. So you just scroll up until you see the manufacturer, and you can do a quick click on the letter of choose your manufacturer, and it'll take you right to the S's. And then you still have to scroll through the S's to find Sato, or Sato as some people would say, the Japanese. Click on that, and that'll bring you to another page that says RC Engine Bearings, Sato. So then this is where things start to break down in my opinion, and they understand this, and that's why I'm assisting them with this. So here you'll see that they've got a search by manufacturer model, and they start out with 0 through 9 and then through the letters of the alphabet. And I kind of understand the reason why they did that, but it still doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because I think they need to tailor this section towards the way the engines are actually labeled and listed and sold, like FA something. So everything should just be under F, in my opinion. But anyway, so this is where things kind of start to break down a little bit, and this is where knowing exactly what you need, what engine you've got, makes a difference. And I'll show you a prime example here. So if you go down to let's see here, A, where it says all models. So this could be kind of challenging because like here it says all models 90. Well, those of you that know Sato engines, and those of you that don't are about to know, the only 90 size engines that Sato ever made that say 90 are the flat twin, the FA90T or the FA90TS, the Boxer. Two twins. They never made a single cylinder 90 engine. So if you think you have a Sato 91S, which is the only other single cylinder 91 that they ever made, they never made a single cylinder 90, 91S, you would not select that. Because if you select all models 90, you're going to get numerous different part numbers, and the part numbers indicate different bearing sizes in the kit. These are all sold by a kit, which means that if you're going to select let's just say I'm going to select FA91, make this simpler. So I just selected FA91 and I'm scrolling up and I see that there are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 listings. But the part numbers for all 6 of those is ENK-001. Now that's a kit number, and what the kit will include is the front bearing and the rear main bearing. You don't buy bearings individually from Boca, they have them in kits. So starting from the top to the bottom typically is how this will go. They'll go from lowest cost to highest cost from top to bottom typically. So like the ENK-001 would be, it says your economy engine bearings. And then you've got the next one is the ENK-001 ST stainless steel bearings. And then you've got high performance, ceramic high performance, etc. So that's all well and good, and I say the economy bearings are great personally because, and I can get into that perhaps a little bit more in a different video because there's really a lot more to bearings than meets the eye, as many of you know. But for the sake of this video and just navigating the website, I'm just going to say, okay, now I'm just going to click on, just for the heck of it, I'm going to click on 001 ST where it says more information. So I click on more info, and it says here ENK-001 ST Sato FA91. They don't have the S on there, which they should, because there is no FA91. The only FA91 they made was an FA91S, period. They never made a FA91. So that needs to be fixed, and I will have them fix that. But then here it shows the kit components. And it shows 2 ball bearings. It shows an SR6ZZC, #3 PS2, and then an SMR6902-RSC SRL. So I'm going to probably do a separate video for those of you interested in bearing part number nomenclature, and I'm working with Boca to understand theirs because there should be an industry standard for this nomenclature, and in many of these suffixes and prefixes are standard, but not all companies use them, and some only apply to certain types of bearings like radial bearings, which is what we have in our. So I have questions because I want to understand this more. But anyway, so if you look on that, it'll show you exactly the sizes of those bearings in inch or metric, and that's great. And it also says also fits. There's a tab here that says also fits. So if you go to also fits, this part is really quite accurate from what I've seen so far. Now I haven't purchased bearings for every single engine available yet, and I can only update and find issues in their website for the ones that I purchase or recommend to others, and people say, oh, this isn't the right bearing. So it's not possible for me to purchase or get every engine for every set of bearings, but you know, that goes without saying. So the also fits. So what the also fits means is that this part number, ENK001, all of those bearings, in theory, should fit all of these different bearing or engines. Bunch of Enya engines, Evolution engines, Magnum engines, OS engines. So this is a fairly standard bearing size for many engines. So that's how you would navigate that. Now I'm going to hit the back button and I'm going to say there's the ST, which is stainless steel, the HP high performance bearings, and some of these have different ABEC ratings for either the front or the rear, and the ABEC rating is going to be a completely separate video. But the main thing you need to know is, first of all, if you want to start looking into Boca as your bearing supplier for your engines, and you have difficulties navigating the website, you have any questions about which one should you get, please feel free to email me and I will be more than happy to clarify and clear up some of the issues with their website that I am currently working on. And one of them is under the bearing search by manufacturer model. I'm not sure I'm entirely on board with the way they've got that set up, and especially when it comes to, they say all models 90 and you've got a whole bunch of different ones. Because let's take another example that I just had a painful experience with, not painful, but an experience with, where it comes to Enya 46 4-cycle engines. Now, for the Enya 46 4-cycle engine, there were two different variants. Enya updated the front housing at some point in time, I don't know when, and they changed the size of the bearing. So if you go and navigate to Enya 4-cycle, 46 4-cycle, you'll see probably at least 2 to 3 different part numbers. And this is something I've already raised the flag to Boca about that needs to be fixed, because there's no way to differentiate between the version 1 or whatever Enya was referring to them as. So if you have an Enya 46 4-cycle engine, it's really in your best interest to pull the bearings first and measure them. Make sure which version you've got before you go off and just order bearings. And this is an example of a time where I cannot help you unless you send me detailed pictures of your disassembled engine, and by looking at the picture, then I can tell you which is the right bearing size. But so the Enya 46 4-cycle is one of those things you don't want to just go off and just buy bearings, the first econo bearings you see, because they may not be the right size for your engine. There may be other instances of engines like that where an engine has undergone an upgrade and I'm not aware of and they're not aware of. So there are a few gotchas with that, but that's where I can be of assistance to you and help out, and you will also actually be helping me to help Boca to update their website. So that is my video for today. Basically just how to navigate the Boca site, the pitfalls of certain areas and the good things of other areas. But if you have any questions about their bearings or anything, just feel free to reach out via email and I will be more than happy to assist. So thank you for watching.